Golf expert Scott Wilson rejoined us on the Sports Buffet podcast. We get Scott to break down our majors, review. This time he was reviewing the battle for the Claret Jug last week in Scotland. The British Open took place. Ernie Els gets another major. 3 majors, 3 different decades for Ernie Els. Scott Wilson reviews it on the Sports Buffet podcast. 3 of the 4 majors in the books and another different winner, but not a first-time winner. Ernie Els takes the Claret Jug. Scott Wilson, our golf expert, one of our golf experts, joins us here on the Sports Buffet. Kyle Haney would get mad if I didn't give him a prop as well. But he said that, the golfing gods are going to be good to Adam Scott at some point in time. Do you agree with that?
Not necessarily.
I really wanted Kyle here to have a good old-fashioned debate, but maybe another time. Go ahead.
Well, maybe you could pretend to be Kyle. You look at people like Scott Hoke missing a 2-inch putt in a major. He never won anything like that. I don't see that happening necessarily. I mean, it could happen. Adam Scott could still win a major, but his last putt really reminded me of Sergio's putt in the British Open a few years ago when he ended up losing in a playoff, and we all know Sergio hasn't been back since.
Tiger Woods is getting back, but can't put it together for 4 rounds right now. What'd you see out of Eldrick?
Well, I think his main thing that kind of made me wonder was he hit so many irons off of tees, and he's got like 240 yards into all of these par 4s, and I don't care how good you are, if you're hitting a 5-iron instead of an 8-iron into a green, you're not going to be as accurate. And so at some point you got to just buckle down and at least hit a 3-wood.
Is it still confidence in your opinion?
I guess. I don't really know why he was doing it like that. He didn't do that at the Masters or the U.S. Open, but something about the British Open, and I guess he just didn't want to get in those bunkers, and we saw what happened when he got in one.
Well, and you could argue, too, there's a difference of playing to win and playing not to lose. And I know only one person can win a golf tournament, obviously, but it almost seems like Tiger's playing not to lose more than he's playing to win.
Yeah, and when you're 4 or 5 shots behind, you can't do that. You're not going to win if you can't make birdies. So I don't know what he was doing there.
And a lot of people want to jump on Adam Scott for last 4 holes. I think he was bogeyed all 4 of them, but I don't think you can take anything away from Ernie Els whatsoever, especially on that back 9.
Right, yeah. I mean, the way he played the 18th was absolutely perfect. Drive right down the middle with the driver. Iron to close, and he knocked that putt. That putt, if they didn't make it, it was going way past the hole. He had some speed on that one. But that was bravo, a little golf clap for Ernie.
And Brandt Snedeker obviously really came out and had a great round 2. Round 3 was not so great. Round 4 kind of had its ups and downs. Is he close to a major at any point? I mean, is he one of these guys that we can put in the discussion of a guy that's going to get his first major at some point?
Maybe. He might be one of those people that just plays better in the majors than regular tournaments, because he hasn't had a whole lot of success on the PGA Tour. I believe he's won in the last year or so. But other than this and the Masters, where else do you see Snedeker pop up? He's not even a guy that's really on Ryder Cup teams or President's Cup teams, so I don't know.
Phil Mickelson got to come home early after round 2. Just never got it going, but this is kind of what I don't want to say expect out of Phil at majors, but at British, that's not Phil's tournament.
Right. He played well last year, but yeah, he looked completely lost. I don't know what was up with Phil. I would imagine that he's trying to regroup for the PGA, but he certainly didn't have it.
I'm going to play a game with you real quick. We'll call it Who Gets More. Who gets more majors from the rest of the way, Tiger or Phil?
My first inclination is to say Tiger.
What's your second inclination? I mean, I know Phil has that arthritic condition, which, and I don't have arthritis, but from what I hear, it can flare up and go away and be fine the next day. But, I think Phil could probably use that as a crutch if he wants to, and I personally see that happening more and more here as we get down the stretch. What say you?
Yeah, I think so. And you have to remember, Phil, I believe, is 4 years older than Tiger, maybe 5. That's a big deal, too. And Tiger, to me, keeps himself in better shape. I mean, Phil is in shape, but he's not the gym rat that Tiger is.
And your boy Thornborn, or Thorbjorn, or I'll let you say his name. He was up there on the board.
Yes, and he's actually leading the Austrian Open after 2 rounds. So there's a little tidbit for you. So Thorbjorn has got it going.
Next, did anybody put themselves in the category of guy that's going to get his first major soon, based on what you've seen here lately?
Well, I mean, you talked about Snedeker. I don't know if he's really going to be up there. I mean, if you look at the other people who are near the top over the weekend, I mean, Graham McDowell's already won. Tiger's already won. I still tend to think it might be one of these young players from Europe who would get in before one of the Americans, but you never know. I mean, Steve Stricker played pretty well. Zach Johnson did okay. Well, Zach Johnson's on one, but I was thinking of Americans.
By the way, Graham McDowell might have had the worst shot of the whole tournament.
Yeah, that 3-wood on that par 5 was pretty awful.
That had to make the regular scratch golfers feel like they were $1 million too, because that. I mean, I think even Azinger said it. That's a shot that makes you feel good if you're sitting at home.
Yeah, I've hit a few of those, but I wouldn't expect the pros to.
PGA Championship, the fourth major, or the maybe some people call it the fifth major, because I know a lot of people value the Tour Championship more. First time winner coming, or kind of hard to say?
I'll go for first time winner. I think that's been the trend.
Got a name in mind, or?
Well, now you're asking a tough question.
Yeah, now I'm throwing you on the spot.
You know, I think either Stricker or Kuchar has a good shot at it. I saw Kuchar on Thursday at the Canadian Open birdied his first 5 holes in a row. He can go low, and I think the course at Kiowa Island tends to be slightly linksish, but I think that you could probably make some birdies on it.
I'm going to go Bill Haas. You heard it here first.
Not a bad pick. He's a FedEx Cup winner from last year.
So we'll see what that has to do with Scott. As always, we appreciate the insight on the major, and I guess we have nothing to enjoy until about August now.
Yep, August PGA, and then the FedEx Cup events come after that.
Should be fun. Scott Wilson on the Sports Buffet Podcast.